theoretical inputs, they get it in the classroom, but practical exposure is given by the industry, and the
Yeah.
students will learn only when they have whatever they have acquired, the knowledge, the domain, when they actually implement it to the workplace. So that is
Correct. And though for students of MLTs, BMLTs and MSc MLT, I think we have tied up recently. My team colleague Vaishali, she was in Pune to conduct a walk-in. We have opened up a lab in Pune, another one in Mumbai, and another one in Navi Mumbai. So we are opening around 6-8 pathology lab across state of Maharashtra. So this last weekend, Vaishali was there, and then she, after completing the walk-in interviews, she visited 3-4 colleges, medical colleges for MD pathology doctors. Then she went to Symbiosis for MBA and BML students. And apart from these, another 2-3 institutions which impart BMLT courses. So basically, our idea is to tie up with such good institutions, and through enter into an arrangement by virtue of which we get students as interns. I understand as a part of their curriculum, they have to undergo 6 months internship. So we'll be a pan-India player. Already we are present in more than 20 states and union territories, having more than 67 of our own labs. And apart from that, 1,600 collection centers and more than 4,000 direct clients. So therefore, we have huge requirement of MLT students.
And I'm sure why you took over the HR and corporate affairs, the organization has grown phenomenally. So all credit to you and your vision.
Basically, it's a teamwork. Definitely,
But
I
I mean,
am
you
trying
need
my
to guide
little
now.
bit.
Yeah, you need to guide.
Yeah,
So
but
just 1 minute, sir. Ruby, are
sure.
we good to go live with the students?
Yes, sir. The students are listening to all your
Acha, they
conversations.
are? Okay,
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 that's
okay.
great.
So, students, a very good afternoon to all of you. And it's indeed a pleasure to have Mr. Shibu Shrestha with us today. And he is a very renowned person and carries 30 years of experience into HR, corporate affairs, legal, company, and company secretarial domains. And, he is currently the head HR and corporate affairs with Pathkind Pharma, which is a unit of Mankind. So, on our request, we had requested sir to kindly, interact with the students and give them some inspiration and guidance on how to proceed forward. So, the topic of today's session is overview of diagnosis industry in our country. And before we commence, I would like to request my colleague, Dr. Ruby Singh, to kindly say, introduce Mr. Shrestha to the students. And let's hope that the students have a great session. And students, after the session, you can put in your questions in the chat box, any queries, any guidance. So, I mean, you've got a resource in front of you, a very renowned resource. You can get any guidance from him. So my best wishes to you, and thank you once again, Mr. Shrestha.
It's my pleasure.
Ruby, please introduce, sir.
So thank you so much. And let me take this onus to introduce Mr. Shibu Shrestha, sir. Sir has been very kind. I'm very thankful to you on behalf of Amity University, Haryana, that he has taken out his precious time to interact with my dear students and faculty. Sir, I would like to go ahead and further introduce Mr. Shibu Shrestha ji. He is heading Pathkind Diagnostics Private Limited, and he's also heading the corporate affairs department of this company. A company secretary and HR professional having a round experience of more than 30 years in HR, corporate affairs, statutory compliances, legal, company secretarial domains, and he has worked with various companies ranging from consumers, capital goods, engineering, manufacturing, as well as healthcare sectors. So just a snapshot of you, sir, though there is lots and lots that we can share about you. And recently, you have been awarded at many functions. I have just refreshed my screen and I've seen lots of facilitations to you. Congratulations to you, sir. And I would also like to mention that you have been with very deep knowledge of this sector, and you have also served with Department of Education, Ministry of Human Resource, Government of India, and with the focus objective of education for all when it was introduced in 1986 by in the National Education Policy. Also, highlights of the National Literacy Mission are worth mentioning. Adult Education Operation Blackboard, that was to improve nationwide primary education, along with expanded Open University System, that is IGNOU, created in 1985. So I think Sir has been very humble to just mention 2-3 dots of his vast knowledge and experience. But I would definitely want Shibu sir, you please share more and delight our students and faculty with all the knowledge and the rich experience that you have amassed over the years. I would also take this occasion to just give a brief introduction of Mr. Manoj Sani, sir. He's our director, sir, Corporate Resource Center at MIT University, Haryana. He's also heading the industry integration for MIT University, Haryana. He has an overall experience of around 30 years, from which more than 17 years has been with the corporate and more than a decade has been into the teaching. Currently, he is handling multiple portfolios, but the key areas which highlight him or his work are as mentioned. He is also responsible for managing training, placements, networking with the corporate across the industry
My
and
apologies,
achieving.
Ruby. My apologies. Thank you for the generous introduction. Let
Sir,
us keep
sir,
it
just a
short.
second, just a second.
No,
You
because I
never
want my
allow, you
students.
never allow, you never allow. I will just, if you, Shibu sir, if you will just allow me, I just
Please.
want a minute of this.
Hmm.
I just want the students to know a little bit about yourself also, sir. It's very important. Just allow me 1 second more. So the key aspect where sir is very much known for his very much networked and good placement and trainings acumen, which he has amassed over the last 30 years, which he is very generous and humbly sharing with all the students and the corporate world. I now take this occasion to hand over to Mr. Shibu. Shibu sir, I give the session to you. Please address our students and share with us all the knowledge and the experiences which you have to share with us. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruby. I'll in next about 30 to 40 minutes time, I'll try to share whatever little bit I have learned during my short journey. At the outset, I would like to tell one thing, that today's generation, by any yardstick, I feel they are much smarter, they are much knowledgeable, they are much bright and bolder and faster. I have a great respect for this new generation, and I only feel or I'll only see that I may be able to share some experiences which I could gather by virtue of coming to this earth a little bit earlier than my beloved students. So having said that, learned Shri Manoj Sahni ji, Director CRC, MIT University Gurugram, learned Dr. Ruby ji, Senior Manager CRC, MIT University Gurugram, and my dear participating students who are pursuing, I'm told, different streams in this prestigious university called MIT University. So basically, this address, I'll break up this into three parts. The first part, as the title itself says, the diagnostic industry in our country, because I'm told that most of you are the students of MLT, and my company is into diagnostic field, which happens to be one part of the whole healthcare sector. So therefore, the first part will be on the current scenario, how the diagnostic industry landscape is there in our country. Then on my second part, I'll briefly try to share 2 or 3 mantras, business skill mantras, which perhaps none of the business schools or institutions teach you as their curriculum. And in the last, I'd like to share different venues which are available for you bright students after you pass out to pursue as your career. So to begin with, and then of course there will be a brief question answer session where your questions I'll try to answer to the best of my ability and knowledge. So now, first part, coming to the overview of diagnostics industry in our country, I'd like to share my PPT. Just a second. Is it? It has come to the screen.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Can you see it in the screen? Overview of diagnostics industry in our company. Now, first of all, we should know what are the components or what are the different fields which fall under healthcare industry. So basically, there are 5 segments, and the 6th segment is added recently of late. So if you see this pie chart, the first segment is hospitals. Hospitals constitute roughly around 68% of the healthcare industry segment, which is then followed by pharma industry, pharmaceuticals at 13%. Then it is medical devices and supplies. That comes around 4%. Healthcare insurance is the third top constituent at 9%, followed by diagnostics at 6% and medical devices at 4%. So if you see, medical devices can be further broken into 2 parts. One is imaging, that is X-rays, and any this CT scan and thing. The other part is pathology. Pathology constitutes 58% of the share, imaging 42%. So when I talk about diagnostics, I'll be covering the pathology side. Now, coming to the total size, if you see the total Indian diagnostics market, total size of Indian healthcare sector that comprises of all those 6 components which I mentioned in the beginning. I'll go back. So these 5 components, as I told, hospitals, pharmaceutical, medical devices and supplies, healthcare insurance, and diagnostics. There is 6th component which of late has come up and which has got a great future in times to come. This is digital healthcare. As you all may be aware, recently Government of India has announced a digitization of health records. So I'll in my later part I'll try to cover a little bit more on this. So this one is coming as a 6th segment. So total today, if we say healthcare industry, it comprises of these 6 components. And the percentage we have shown is shown here. Major part hospital at 68%, pharma at 13%, health insurance is 9%, diagnostics is 6%, and medical devices 4%. Now diagnostics again has got 2 parts, imaging and pathology, whereas pathology constitutes 58% and imaging constitutes 42%. Now, if we say in terms of figures, what is the size of the Indian diagnostic market? The total Indian healthcare sector market is around $194 billion as on 2020. And it is expected to be around $372 billion by 2022. So there's a huge opportunity in this, and this figure, mind me, this figure may go further up because of COVID-19, onslaught, which we all experienced in our recent past, which virtually brought to standstill almost whole economy of across the world. Now, diagnostic industry constitutes around $11.6 billion, roughly $12 billion. And as I explained to you earlier, 58% of this falls under pathology. So roughly $7 to $8 billion is the market of pathology segment. As I was explaining, digital healthcare is expected to be a $504.40 billion market by 2025. In times to come, digital healthcare will be ruling the market. And what are the different elements of digital healthcare? When we talk about digital healthcare, what is digital healthcare? So I have tried to break it up into 5 segments. First one is telemedicine. As you all know, today PharmEasy, and there are so many online service providers whereby you just order the medicines online and you get the delivery at the shortest possible time at your home. Second important thing which is coming is electronic health records. As I was explaining earlier, the government of India has in the last week, I understand, announced, the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister announced Digital Health Mission. That means that all health record of all the people in our country will be digitized and will be kept in electronic form, in clouds kind of thing. So this has got its own advantages. People across, they will be ready with their health record at any given point of time. Insurance claims and things can be settled much faster. Doctors, medical professionals, they will be in a position to diagnose the patient in a much better way, because all the health records of any individual will be available on electronic mode, at one place. Then third is, as I told, e-pharmacy. E-pharmacy, as I told you, it is kind of it is an extended form of telemedicine. Telemedicine, when the doctor advises you over audiovisual medium after consultation, he prescribes you certain treatments, whether be it medicine, be it diagnostic tests and thing. And based on that, you can order the medicines online through e-pharmacy. As I told you, PharmEasy, 1mg, Tata 1mg, and many players are there in the market. Next element of digital healthcare is data analytics. And data analytics and artificial intelligence, these are the two areas which will be ruling the times to come, not only in healthcare, but in any other industry in its digitized format. So these are the digital healthcare market coming up in a big way, and it is estimated that digital healthcare market will be in the range of 500 plus billion US dollar market by 2025. Now having explained about the revenue or the size, the size of the industry and its different elements. Now let us see what is the structure of diagnostic market in our country. In the organized, as you all may be knowing, any industry in our country or for that matter in the world falls broadly under two categories: the organized sectors and the unorganized sectors. Here, if you see the diagnostic industry, and when I say diagnostic, it is the pathology labs, 47% are still standalone labs in our country. I need not explain much to you. If you go to any town or any village or any tier 2 or tier 3 cities or any lane, you will see a number of standalone labs, small labs, which are running there. So basically, as on date, there are no regulatory stipulations with regard to running of a diagnostic pathology labs, number one. Number two, as you might be aware, there is a dearth of MD doctors, MD pathology doctors in our country. There are apparently hardly 11,000 doctors, MD pathology doctors available in our country. And it is estimated that more than 1 lakh pathology labs are being run in our country. So therefore, you can imagine what will be the condition of these standalone, unregulated, unmanaged, labs. If I may say so, most of these labs are basically run by, small people. They do manage, they do tie up with the local doctors and run these kind of labs. Basically, in our terminology, we call these labs as sink test labs. What they do, they take the sample, take into the sink, just throw it away and create the kind of report which is, in cohort, the doctors, it is generated. There are 37% labs which fall under hospitals. In our country, hospitals are there and they have their own labs, pathology labs. So 37% falls under those labs which are run in one hospital or the other. So for our purpose, we consider or we term these 37% also as falling under unorganized sector. They are not chain of labs. They are also standalone labs. But having said that, their status is little better than these standalone labs, 47%. Therefore, 84% share still fall under unorganized sector. Only 16% falls under organized sector. And if we break it further, you will find that out of the 16, 10% falls under regional players. When I say regional players, they are strong in one or two states. Like for example, in South we go, then Vijaya Diagnostics. If we go on the east side, it is Suraksha Diagnostics. If we talk on Mumbai, it is suburban kind of thing, So they are strong in one area or one state or two state. Vijaya Diagnostics is strong in Andhra and Telangana, kind of thing. So they are also more or less organized, but they are regional players. Only 6% falls under national players. So when I say national players, they are like Dr. Lal. Of course, Pathkind is also trying to become pan-India player in about 2 years' time. It will become. Currently, we are present in across 20 states and union territories, covering more than 70% population. And by this year end, we'll be covering the western part of the country. And by next year, we'll cover the southern part. And simultaneously, we are also trying to tie up some international players for opening of labs in those countries. They are essentially neighboring countries, CIS countries, Middle East, and African countries. So when I say national players, only 3 or 4 players are there. Like as I mentioned to you, Dr. Lal, SRL, Metropolis, of course, Pathkind also trying to become there. So if you see this, and let me tell you, last 15-20 years, during 15-20 years ago, this whole diagnostic market was dominated by 100%, almost 100% was falling in unorganized sector. For the last 15-20 years or so, the share, the organized player would get the share around 15 to 16%. So if you see, every year, the organized sector is getting roughly 1% or more from the unorganized sector. And post-COVID, this process will further fasten up. So it is hoped that this organized sector falling under organized sector will further get intensified. So what does it mean for us? Means for us all in healthcare sector, in diagnostic sector, that there is a very, very big scope for all of us in this industry, especially in organized sector. There's a huge scope. See, 47, roughly around 50% unorganized sector is open before us. And that is why you all might have seen that a lot of established players, including some of, established venture capital firms and things, they have jumped into this sector. Be it Reliance, be it Tata, be it Lupin has also come in, 1 or 2 more players. So you have seen it has become a point of attraction for all big players, and they all are coming into this field. So after this, now I'd like to go further. Now, what is the breakup of the sector in urban and rural areas? If we talk, roughly around 65% of pathology business comes from rural areas, whereas roughly around 35% are from urban area. But if you see in revenue terms, it is just vice versa. 65% business, 65% share in rural market brings in 35% revenue, whereas 35% business in urban area brings in 65% of revenue. And in times to come, this area expansion of coverage of urban area will start going more and more. But having said that, of late we are seeing a trend that consumer goods, or for any other indicative, tier 2 and tier 3 towns or cities are also coming up like anything. If I have to summarize it, the paying propensity of people residing in tier 2 and tier 3 cities are also going up like anything. It is happening because of the reason that industries are now going into tier 2 and 3 towns and cities. There was a study carried out recently whereby it is found that now industries are preferring to recruit, to employ people. 35% of their recruitments they do from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which was earlier only restricted up to 5%. There is a reason behind it. Number one, they get good, talented people at a reasonably cheaper salary or compensation, you can say. Number two, the people who come from humble background, the chances of their continuing in a company is considered to be more than as compared to a person who is in a urban area, metropolitan cities, cosmopolitan cities, kind of thing. So therefore, there is a great opportunity in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as compared to cosmopolitan cities. Now, coming another thing which is important and which I would like to highlight is, till now, diagnostics, or for that matter, pathology tests were considered to be prescriptive. What used to happen? Any person, he gets sick, he goes to the doctor, doctor understands the symptoms and diagnose the possible causes. To arrive at a concrete diagnosis, the doctor then recommends some tests. It be imaging test, it be pathology tests. Those are called prescriptive tests. As you know, in our country, most of people perhaps might not have given their samples, blood samples, in their whole of their lifetimes. Whereas in Western countries, this is much ahead. Now, of late, because and thanks to COVID, people have started becoming aware about their health. They have become health conscious, especially during COVID time when everything was, restricted and people were quite scared about their health situation. So people by force came to learn about different parameters of a healthy person. Therefore, this new word has been coined, which is called preventive or wellness health checkup. People are now going for preventive health checkups. They want to know, especially those people who are educated, who are in urban places. They are quite concerned, and they have a good paying propensity as well. So they are educated, their paying propensity is good, their awareness is good. Therefore, they willingly go for a preventive health checkup on their own at regular intervals, 3 months, 6 months, kind of thing. And they know they want to know that what are my different parameters, and if they find any deviations, they take immediate action, through consultation with the doctors, concerned doctors and things. Likewise, corporate houses, good corporate houses, they have also now started tying up with pathology companies, good pathology companies having national chain of labs across country, who are having good standards and employing good international, multinational companies, instruments and equipments, following up prescribed SOPs. These companies, good companies, they have started tying up with these good organized sectors, corporate lab chains for health checkups of their employees and their family members. It is predicted, it is projected that this segment of diagnostic industry will grow at an astonishing figure of 25% CAGR every year. So there is a huge opportunity on preventive health checkups in times to come, in recent times to come. So I have tried to give, in a nutshell, the total scenario of Indian diagnostics market. Now here, before I enter into my second part, I would like to know if any of my dear students have got any query, any issues, anything, I would like to respond. Yes, please. Dr. Ruby, can you ask the students if they have got, till now, if they have got any issues, any query, any such things, then I'd like to respond. Otherwise, I'll go to the next segment of my address. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Any query? Any issues till now?
Students, any of the students is wanting to ask any question? You can raise your hand, or you can write in the chat box. Rajiv.
And feel free, because it will, the more, I want it to be two-way traffic, because that will keep us engaged, otherwise it will become a monologue kind of thing,
Sir, Tanima is here. Tanima is thanking you for a wonderful overview that you have shared with us.
Yeah.
Any questions, students, please feel free to write in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. We can, sir can address right away.
Or you can write in the chat box.
I think, sir, we can tell the student to write in the chat box, and post the session, we can address it.
Okay, that will be great. That will be great.
Okay.
So now I will move from here. So this was, I was trying to give you an overall picture of diagnostic industry in our country from different aspects, which will help you understand in a sliced and diced manner. Now I'll come to second part, which is, I'd like to share three things which I feel are important for any student, irrespective of which stream he or she is pursuing. And these three things, according to me, are those that are never taught in any business schools, or for that matter, any universities or any curriculum, or in any business schools. To begin with, the first, and this is based on my experience over a period of time, I could summarize, and I'd summarize. According to me, there are three basic things which I feel any student, when irrespective of which stream he or she is through, should try to imbibe. The first being humility. H, humility. See, we all as an individual or as a professional must learn to be humble. When I say humble, it doesn't mean we should be meek. We, of course, have to be firm, but it is the humility part which makes us acceptable. If I have to put in one word, if we are not humble, what happens? We stop listening. And when we stop listening, believe me, it is my experience, we stop learning. And in today's VUCA, volatile world, you know more than I the importance of continuous learning. Jim Collins, he was a famous consultant and author. He conducted a research, a study on 11 top businesses in America that gave consistent high returns over 15 years. And you know what was his finding? He found one single quality in all those CEOs of these 15 businesses, and those were paradoxical combination of humility and iron will. As a CEO, as a leader, your prime responsibility is to build up a team of knowledgeable people, a team who are intelligent in their respective field. You take example of any successful industrialist in our country, or for that matter in world, be it Dhirubhai Ambani, be it Tata, be it anybody. If you watch them closely, you will find most of them, or perhaps all of them, very, very humble. They run such a big empires. You know why? Because they are successfully able to bring into their fold experts and distinguished, knowledgeable people from different segments. If you ask me, their only job is to identify experts, distinguished experts in different fields, bring in them all under one umbrella, provide them a good environment, working environment, so that they all together act or make effort to get the desired result, isn't it? So he functions as a, what you say, as a conductor of a large and talented orchestra, with and make all effort to ensure that this distinguished team of professionals who are expert in their respective field, that creates a magnificent symphony. So what I would urge upon all of you as budding future professionals, please imbibe the human character of humility unto yourself. Second thing which I would like to share with you, which I'll urge upon all of you to imbibe upon, is brevity. As you might be aware, today communication, we do communicate with the speed, with the agility, with the mode. There are various modes of communication, you know better than me, which are much, much faster. But only thing I feel what lack is, while we all communicate, we don't communicate effectively. As a successful professional, or for that matter, as a successful overall good personality, we all must learn how to communicate effectively. Today, more text messages are sent in a day than the entire population of the planet. Today, more information are generated in a day than that was generated during the period from 0 BC until 2018. So this is the magnitude of information, messages that we generate. This world is generating. However, one thing we must learn amongst all these things, how to be effective communicator. The more we write, the more we say, instead of explaining, it creates more of a clutter, confusion. Down the line, okay, fine. I was just saying one of the queries. Therefore, it is very important for you to learn how to communicate effectively. A famous American author, Ernest Hemingway, when he was just 10 years old, he tried to portray a tragic story in just 6 words. And perhaps some of you might be knowing this as well, but however, I'd like, for the benefit of all, I'd like to share this. And those 6-word story was, for sale, baby shoes, never worn. For sale, baby shoes never worn. Now, this is just 6 words, but if you amplify the meaning, the deep meaning which all these 6 words contain, you will come to know the effectiveness and the power of brief and effective communication. Think deeply, express briefly. That will be my motto to all my dear students. Coming to the third point which I'd like to share with my dear students is self-awareness. You know, this fast changing world. The world is changing very fast. There are various methods of acquiring knowledges. But there are great leaders, there are great professionals, there are so many people around the world with whom we can, we are generally advised to identify as our idols. My suggestion or my humble advice to all of you will be that in my understanding, I feel each one of us is unique in their own way. Each one of you are unique, special, full of capacities, capabilities in your own way. And therefore, instead of following or imbibing any idol, I will rather sincerely advise you to do an analysis of that character, understand and take the good points from him, and see that all those good things imbibe on your own personality development. Unfortunately, our current education system doesn't promote the thing which we want to pursue, and which to a little extent new education policy 2020 is trying to cover up by virtue of bringing in skill development set in the times to come. So what I would like to say is that find out who you are. Where is your passion? What is your passion? Where is your passion lie? Then dream, then start following that. Now to achieve this passion of yours, see what kind of qualities, what kind of knowledges, what kind of characters you need to imbibe, and try and get those through different sources. This will, believe me, help you script your own story. There's a canvas lying before each one of you once you pass out from your university, colleges. Here is the canvas open for you to write your own story. New horizons, new hopes. And while I'm talking about self-awareness, one thing I would like to add, as a sense of humility, you just take some time away, think yourself. Who are the people who helped you during your stay in Amity University? Who are the people who mentored you? Who are the people who guided you? Who are the people who helped you the most when you were passing through emotionally or financially or in any way difficult situation? Go to them, spend some time with them, say thanks to them, express your gratitude to them, and then make a promise that you will listen to them. You will listen to the world's beautiful symphony, and that will help you move ahead in achieving or fulfilling your passion. With this, my second leg of my address comes to an end. Now I will enter into the third and the final part. As to what once you all students, brilliant students, pass out from prestigious MIT University, what's next? Of course, there are 2 or 3 options available. You may pursue career in a corporate sector, you may pursue your career in academics, you may pursue your career in government sector, or you may start your own venture. As I told you, each one of us are unique, and therefore, depending upon various parameters and things which are unique to each of us, we have to take a call as to which line we want to pursue. Coming to opportunities in diagnostic sector, I'd like to share 2-3 things. As you know, your curriculum also, if I'm correct, provides for 6 or 3 months internship. That is a practical exposure. So to achieve that, you can approach good pathology lab. We also tie up with various good institutions who impart BMLTs, MLT, and biotechnology, and different even MBA students. And we try and give them a good exposure during their internship. Post internship, either you'll get absorbed in that company itself, depending upon availability of vacancies, positions, and things. And then you start grooming yourself, start your career path. Likewise, one is in labs, that is called lab operations. The other career path will be in sales and marketing, as you know, in pharma, in diagnostic, in any other healthcare elements. There are sales and marketing side, sales executives, area sales managers, kind of thing. So you can also explore possibility on those lines in sales and marketing. Third is that you can start your own business as well. And in our context, if I can think of, you can also start your own collection center. As you know, any established national or regional players who are having chain of labs, they generally tie up, appoint channel sales partners. That is called collection centers. So you can get tied up with any good lab pathology company who are having labs across the country, and tie up and start your own collection center. And gradually you can, start your own lab also in times to come. When I say starting your own business, I'd like to share one thing which I have noticed. In the recent past, the young students, young people of our country passing out, irrespective of the courses which they pursue, whether they are from business schools, whether they are from IIMs, whether they are from engineering background, whether they are from, medical, legal, there's a trend which is coming that people now, young people now, making a team of 2-3 like-minded fellow students, are trying to do their own thing. And it is not necessarily in the field in which they have trained for as a course, but in other fields as well. And you all know what is unicorn, startups, unicorns? Anybody? Startup unicorns? You have heard this word? Do you know the meaning? Anybody? Dr. Ruby, can you ask the students if they know the meaning of this?
Students, are you aware of this word?
Startups, unicorns.
Please raise your hand.
You can tell, you can.
Students,
startups, unicorns. Okay, fine. I'll explain. Startup unicorns are those startups which have generated a market value of more than 1 billion US dollar. That is in Indian rupee terms, more than 7,400 crore rupees. And you will be surprised. And all these startups are started by young pass outs from different colleges and institutes. And you'll be surprised to know that in the year 2020, despite the whole year, March 20 onwards, coming in the grip of COVID, 11 unicorn startups were produced by our country, by this young. Startups are generally started by young people, And in 2021, till date, 31 unicorn startups have achieved the status of unicorns. That is, their market value has crossed more than 7,300 crores. So there are 31 such unicorns, and it is expected that by the year end, the number of startup unicorns will cross 50. So that is the kind of activism, that is the kind of challenge our young generation, just fresh pass outs, as young as 22 years, 23 years, 25 years, they are writing history after the history, creating, beautiful history for people like us to, admire about. And just to encourage you a little bit about this, I have 2 live examples to share with you. You all are you can, Google it, and you can go on to the YouTube and can see. I'd like to give you 2 examples. One example is that of, am I audible? Because I am becoming a monologue, Dr. Ruby. Your students are very disciplined, they're pin drop silent, making me wonder if I am audible.
You're very much audible. We have an option wherein the panelists, they can speak here, and otherwise they can put their questions on the chat, so which they will be posting. But anybody, if they still like, they can unmute and speak.
Correct. So I'd like to share 2 live examples. One is that of, gentleman, 42-year-old gentleman called Mr. Vijay Arora. He belongs from Ghaziabad. He had a very successful financial and legal advisory firm in Delhi. He was running this for more than 21 years. And then one fine day, 20th of March 2020 to be exact, came this lockdown. In the beginning, he thought, chalo, thoda sa break mil jayega kind of thing, But then when it prolonged, it virtually brought his business to a halt. Now, young children, college-going children, mid-aged person, responsibilities towards families, towards parents, he became quite, perplexed, what to do. And you all are aware the kind of situation which was created during that period. Nothing to do, just become idle. Then he discussed the situation with his school friend. And then after discussion and thing, he decided to start a tea cafe. And after discussions, consultations, and some research and thing, he along with his friend, school friend for the last more than 30 years, they started a tea cafe with the name called Brote. B for Bombay, Brote. Brote. It's a Spanish word which means brote means outbreak of COVID-19. So they were thinking what name they should choose for the cafe. So they thought Brote. Currently, the status is this cafe is doing very well, successfully running, and he is planning to open 50 to 100 such cafe across the country in next 2 years' time. And now, thanks God, COVID effect subsided to a great extent. He has also reopened, and he is successfully running that old business of financial and legal advisory firm. So in darkest of situation, a middle-aged person, successful person, stunned by the development, standing at the crossroad, not knowing what to do, took up a very humble and unrelated profession of tea cafe. Rest you can see in YouTube and you can go through Mr. Vijay, as I told you. Second example I'd like to give you is that of Mr. Anubhav Dubey from Indore, a 22-year-old boy who was aspiring to become civil services. He comes to Delhi for taking coaching for preparing civil services exam. Somehow he doesn't click. He also decides, standing at the crossroad, he decides what to do, and he decides to start his own business. He also speaks to one of his college friend, and then they together decide to start a business. They also decided to start a tea cafe, chai. And then they named this cafe as Chai Sutta Bar. You can again go to YouTube and see the status. The current status is they have more than 135 outlets of Chai Sutta Bar across 65 cities in the country and in Middle East also, in Dubai also. And they are selling 3 lakh cup of tea every day at the rate of rupees 10, making a turnover of more than 100 crore per annum. Chai Sutta Bar employs more than 1,500 people, and all of them either belong or have been recruited from orphanage, they are orphans, or they are disabled. Secondly, Chai Sutta Bar requires 3 lakh plus pullers every day to serve tea. And 300 families of Kumhars have been engaged by Chai Sutta Bar to meet this requirement. So 300 families, poor families of Kumhars, you call, pot makers, they are getting regular income through this venture of one young boy called Anubhav Dubey and his friend. So my dear friend, and of course, one more example I'd like to give is that of another girl, 27-year-old. She started this business of, fashion startup 5 years back when she was hardly 22 years with the name called Jilingo. Her name is Ankiti Bose. She's 27 years old, running this Jilingo fashion startup, which has got a market value of more than, as I told you, 7,000. Her net worth today is more than 7,400 crore. and she is just 27 years old. She employs 500 plus people across 8 countries. 8 countries. So these are the 3 examples which I wanted to share with you all, with the sole intention of letting you know your inner strength. Where the youth of today of our country are aspiring to go. हमारे टाइम में 1 करोड़ बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट होता था. It was unimaginable. Today, these youth brigades are breaking $1 billion, that is roughly around 7,000 crore barrier, as if it is nothing. So please go through these videos. I hope these videos will inspire you to achieve your dream. I do not know, you all know, we people, each one of us are filled up of unimaginable expectation, unimaginable propensity and strength. Only thing we need is to recognize our strength, to recognize our passion, and have the simple courage to follow that passion. Believe me, if we follow our passion in right perspective, with all humility, with all self-awareness and blessings of our elders, our colleagues, our teams, there is no reason why we should not become another unicorn startup. So with this, I would like to conclude my address, and I hope you will find this quite interesting. You might have found this quite interesting. And if that be so, I will think that it was my time worth spending sharing with you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shrestha. Indeed, a very inspiring and motivation, session you delivered today. And other than passion, the student, they should also have a zeal. They should be very humble. So these are the key takeaways. You should always be grounded, and you should do something which you are giving back to the society, other than earning a fortune. So these are what the takeaways of this prime takeaways of this session. So you had delivered this talk on 3 different aspects. So really, thank you so much. I think we have few questions, and I give my colleague Dr. Ruby Singh to kindly, read those chats, and so that the students can be addressed.
So indeed, a very wonderful session, and it seemed that more and more is going to come, and surprisingly, the session is ended. Nevertheless, a few of the questions which students would like to know more about is regarding the capacity building of the technicians down the line. So how important is the procedure of sample collection? So this is a question from the medical lab technology and diagnostics.
As I explained here, Dr. Ruby, or my dear students, currently there is the share of organized sector, and that too a national player is just 6%. If you take 110,000 odd labs available in the country, you can yourself see the kind of scope which is available for our MLT students. Coming to Pathkind, let me explain to you. We currently have more than 67 of our labs, our own labs across 20 states and union territories. And believe me, at any point in time, we have requirement of 8 to 10 MLT students at any point in time. And we will be again, expanding ourselves. In this year, we are covering, as I told you, in our western part, that is Gujarat, state of Gujarat and Maharashtra, Goa. And next year, we'll be covering those 5 southern states. So we ourselves will be needing a lot of MLT students in our own labs. Apart from that, as I told you, there's a great opportunity for MLT students to run their own collection centers to begin with. And As I have also explained, there's a great opportunity, as I told you, there's a great opportunity for wellness centers. People, because of people's awareness, thanks to COVID, about, maintaining their health apart from earning. Now they have learned that earning is one thing, enjoying those earnings is equally important, rather more important. So therefore, these wellness centers, tomorrow they can start as a startup, as I told you, the students, they can start as a collection center. They can take on franchisee, Pathkind, or for that matter, any national Dr. Lal, or, and then they can build upon that. They can add on wellness centers. Who knows? Tomorrow they can start their own labs. Then the sky is the limit, They can themselves become a regional players and create a unicorn which can challenge Pathkind in times to come, if I may say so. So there's a huge opportunity. The data itself shows just 6% in organized sector, and wellness industry growing at a growth rate of more than 27%. Added to that, as I told you, opportunity to do their own business, that is collection centers. So these are the opportunities which are available, if I have to say. And to channelize that, as I told you, we would definitely be more than happy to, tie up with Amity, whereby we can take students, from your university on internship basis. And what happens during internship, we give great exposure to each of the students in all segments, biochemistry, histopath, hematology, and then accessioning, all different areas, so that by the time they come out, they are quite conversant of different departments of pathology lab. So, and as I told you, at any point in time, we have positions, 8 to 10 positions, of course, different places are available, and we'll be more than happy to take them in our regular employment. Coming to the MBA side, as I told you, we do take students, fresh pass out students, and even, as sales executives who goes to the doctors, who goes to the hospitals, meet the doctors, hospitals, and explain about our different diagnostic panels and tests. And then they can build up their career on sales and marketing side. So there's a great opportunity, and we are there to support the students in whatever way possible. So that is it. Thank you.
So there's another question where the student is seeking to know how do they start their own enterprise in diagnostics? Few tips if you could guide them.
As I told, they can start their own collection center. Roughly, if I'm that detail can be given by my sales and marketing team, but roughly I understand they have to make an investment of around ₹1,00,000. They'll have to hire a 200 square feet of area, and then all materials and things are provided by us. So if any of your student is interested, they can contact us, and depending upon the place or area where he or she is interested, we can speak to that area's business head, and we will extend all help and support to ensure that the student succeeds in his business venture.
In fact, on the contrary, there is a question on the chat box. Good afternoon, sir. Are you expanding your company in Navi Mumbai? I am also thinking of opening a pathology lab. Is there any way we can tie up and I can get a Pathkind franchisee? So he is Huneshwar Mishra.
Yes, he is dot on the point. We are opening up 2 labs. One is in Andheri, Mumbai, and one is in Kharghar in Navi Mumbai. In maximum 2 months' time, both will become operational. And as I told you, we welcome people who are seriously want to enter into this field, and we'll be more than happy to engage him as one of our franchisee collection center owners. And we will not only appoint him, we will ensure, we'll provide him all help and support to see that he becomes a successful, because our business model is, hub and spoke model. So essentially, as I told you in the beginning, we have 67 labs across 20 states, and we have more than 1,600 collection centers. So it is these collection centers who generate business in their respective areas, and the samples come from them. So it is of utmost importance for us to see that each of our collection centers succeeds. If they success, in their success lies our success. So therefore, we will leave no stone unturned to see that why our collection center, each of our collection center, do not succeed. We'll be more than happy.
So Puneshwar, you can always touch base with Dr. Ruby Singh if you have any more, clarifications, or if you want to speak to the team of Pathkind under guidance of Mr. Shrestha. So you can take it forward. Next is Isha. She is thanking you for feeling so motivated to listen to you.
Thanks.
There is another question, Raghav. In fact, Raghav was putting up a lot of answers to your unicorn and other things. I just saw his name. So Raghav says, how do you plan to compete with the cheaper prices of these standalone diagnostics labs?
See, you know the business mantra. The business mantra is good person or good company keeps watch on the competition. Excellent company or excellent professional keeps watch of its customers. So I am here to provide the best kind of services, the best kind of treatment to my patient, to my referring doctors. So what happens over a period of time? See, as I told you, 15 years back, people didn't have any choice but to go to these standalone, unregulated, unmanaged, small standalone labs. And Raghav is right, since they have not made any investment into good equipments, in machineries, they don't use any good consumables, any good reagents. They just sink, as I told you, sink test. They just take the sample, throw it away, and in collusion with the concerned local doctor and thing, they give the result. Ours is, we believe in giving quality service at affordable price, to people across the country, not only in cosmopolitan cities like, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata, but tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well, and in villages as well, through our chain of labs and our collection centers. So we are of firm belief that ultimately people will recognize the value of correct diagnosis, because mind it, it is very important for the doctors, for the patients to get right diagnosis done. And in 70% of the cases, the right diagnosis depends upon right pathology tests. So in times to come, quality will speak. People had no choice earlier, therefore they were going to these labs. But as I told you, as things will improve upon, as people will become more and more educated, more and more aware, and as national players' share will increase more and more into unorganized sectors, these things are bound to happen, and it will happen. Only thing remains is that we'll have to give consistently correct report within turnaround time prescribed to the people, to the masses at affordable price. And affordable price will ensure by virtue of getting volume. And that is why we are going to tier 2, tier 3 towns, cities, and even villages to generate the kind of volume which we need, So this is how we'll be tackling the situation. I hope I have answered Raghav's query.
You have, so very well. Ruby.
So one question more, sir. So this
please also check Mr. Shrestha's schedule. I mean, we've extended the time.
Yes. Just one small query. A student from MSc MLT is wanting to know, are you planning to hire MSc students also from MLT?
Yeah, as I told you, we are open to hiring. See, it depends. I'll put it this way. I have seen during my, this thing in our National Reference Lab in Gurgaon and other places also. There are some students who are very keen to learn. They, irrespective of whether they are DMLT students, BMLT, MSc, MSc biotechnology, BTech biotechnology. So see, we can only provide you the platform. You and me can only provide the platform to the
Correct.
interested students. Now it depends upon their interest and passion, what kind of benefit or mileage they can take from us, isn't it? But
Very
yes,
right.
we are willing to take even MSc students. Why not?
So we have some students from biotechnology also who have this in their course and many of them they do dissertation, 6-month dissertation in a diagnostic center also. So extending, I suppose the offer is extended to them also for their dissertations.
Yes, it is for them as well. As I told you, we are also a startup in that sense that we started our this company was started 4 years back only. So we were in expansion mode, and then we were also doing the routine tests, specialized routine tests are basically categorized in 3 categories: routine tests, semi-specialized, specialized, and super specialized. So this biotechnology, mol bio, and these things, genomics, they fall under niche segment. Post-COVID, we have given a great thrust and to address this segment as well. So this year only, Vaishali will correct me. I think we need 5, Vaishali. How many biotechnology students we do need? Mol bio and 5. And for that, I think VIT, Vellore Institute approached us. That time I didn't know that you also have students of, biotechnology. But having said that, I'll ask Vaishali to be in touch with you, and maybe 1 or 2 we can still, take. But of course, biotechnology also we are taking as interns.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. Very, very informative. And I suppose our students today had a great time in getting so much of knowledge and imbibing all the values and the qualities that you have highlighted, which are key to recognition, to success, and to more humane approach towards business. I would like to sum up this session, and I would request Manoj sir to say a few words.
Any sir, just namaskar. Thank you for your wonderful time and the blessings you have imparted to our students with your in-depth knowledge. And we look forward to see you very soon, sir. In fact, things are improving. Perhaps we'll invite you here for a bigger audience, and I'm sure these students will carry a lot of mileage and weightage from your talk. Once again, sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you very
thank
much,
you so
and
much,
all
sir.
the best to our dear students. All the best.
Thank you so much. Good day, sir. Thank you.